Let's dive right into our lab with DTP and all kinds of real-world messages, and we're going to see some difference in messages, I believe, from our two different switch models. So let's take a look at this. Go ahead and call the lab up. Also, I'm going to show you a couple of commands here, one you've seen already in this course, one you haven't, that I admit the syntax takes some getting used to. And you know by that I really mean, boy, you're going to trip over this a lot when you first start using it. So I guess I was just trying to be polite about it. But I want to show you a command where you can verify the DTP setting for each individual port. Because there is a show DTP command, but it really doesn't give you a lot of information. It's just giving you your global information. How often hello packets are going out, that's every 30 seconds as mentioned in the previous video. Dynamic trunk timeout 300 seconds, and we have 5 interfaces on the switch right now using UDP because I've taken it off a few as I've gone along. So we've got 5 interfaces using DTP, but which ones? So if we run show DTP and then the interface, boy, you're just going to get information like crazy. And it's a lot of info, frankly, you don't really need, although you do see enabled here at the bottom. This is not the command I like to use to verify DTP. So I hit escape to get out of that. The one I like to use is called show interface switch port. And the reason I like to use this one, it gives you a lot of other handy information too. It tells you whether the switch port's enabled or not, what the admin mode is, what the trunking encapsulation is, access mode VLAN information, trunking native mode VLAN information right there. The one thing that I'm interested in the middle of all of this is negotiation of trunking on. And all this private VLAN information below it, you may use that in future studies, but as you do, this is a great command to come back and just keep checking your VLAN information on the interface level. It's a great command. Now, it's in polite society, which I have never been a part of, but I've heard how they talk. And this is what we call in polite society a verbose command. And by that we mean, of course, man, is this command long-winded. I mean, there's a lot of information that you get with this. So you do want to filter it a little bit, because if I want the information for port 40 on a 48 port switch, I don't want to have to sit here and just hit this all the time, because for one thing, I'm going to get a seizure watching all that stuff scroll. Secondly, it's going to take a long time for us to get there. So I'm going to hit escape here and show you a really handy filter. And this is not the only command you can use the pipe for. It does become an option. And you may call that something else. I've always called it a pipe. But it's an output modifier. And now you can say, okay, I want the information beginning with the line that matches what I put in now. I want to exclude lines that match such and such, or I want to include lines that match. I usually use begin because I tend to use this command to skip down to the information I really need. So I'm going to say begin, and thankfully it's just a regular expression. It's none of that BGP expression stuff, $, pound sign, caret to the right, that kind of thing. You just put it in the way you want it. And I want it beginning with fast 011. So I'm going to look at their syntax, and it's capital F, little a, O/3. And there you go. So I put fast 0/11, and now the output that I'm getting starts with that port. So it's pretty cool stuff. I like that. Now you've got your negotiation of trunking is on as we expected, and I go right down to port 12, and I'm going to see the exact same thing. Just want to verify that before I start a lab. So now, on switch 1, what do we want to do? We want to disable DTP on an interface level. We're going to do it on 2 interfaces, so I'm going to use the interface range command to get you used to that. And I want to use the switch port no negotiate command to make this happen. So let's get started. I'm going to use interface range fast 011 through 12. Grant you with 2 ports, it's not that much extra typing, but if it were an 8-port ether channel you were creating, you'd really like to just put it in one time. So we're going to use interface range to make that happen. Ooh, command rejected. Command wasn't just rejected once. Apparently my shot was knocked back in my face. I grabbed the ball, shot again, and they knocked it right back in my face. 2 rejections. What I'm seeing here, of course, is 1 rejection per port in my interface range. Some switches are going to show it to you this way, and then switch 2 is going to show us a different kind of message there, but the end result is the same. My command ain't working. I've got a conflict between no negotiate and dynamic status. That's because before I can disable DTP, I need to make the port an unconditional trunk port. So that is what I will do now. And now I'll try switch port no negotiate. And we didn't get rejected. We didn't even get rejected once. So let's go ahead and run show interface trunk, because first off, I want to make sure my trunks are still up. That's the most important thing. If my trunks have dropped and they don't come back, then I've got bigger problems than DTP. And we can see here that mode is set to on. That's the difference. That's what happens when we put switch port mode trunk in. Now, pardon me, let's run show interface switch port begin fast 011 and make sure DTP was successfully turned off. And you can see right here in the middle that it was. And we'll just make sure on port 12 that it's off. And there you go. So that's the way I like to make sure DTP is turned off. I don't really like the show DTP commands. Feel free to use them. Show DTP by itself is a good little command to know. But I would just go with show interface switch port and just look at the particular ports. So far, so good on switch 1. Now I'm going to pause the video for a moment. Actually, I'm going to end this particular video. Then we're going to go over to switch 2 because I have a feeling we might run into an extra issue over there and we'll need some more time. So take a quick breather and I'll see you on the next vid.